Hello students, today in this video I am going to teach you social studies for standard 4, that is history and its sources. So in this video we will deal with what is history and what are the different sources of history. But before that I'll tell you that from where this word history has come. Actually this word history has come from the Greek word called histo, which means to know this. Histo, which means know this. And people those who study history are called historians. Historians. Now what is history? History, we can say that it is the study of our past. Is a study of our past. It's a record of events that has happened long years ago. So it is a record of events. Record of the events. History also tells us about the development of human civilization. Now what is civilization? Civilization means the way of life of people during that period of time. So it also tells about development of human civilization. It gives information. Now history also gives information about the political, social, economical activities of the people. It tells us about the wars, inventions, about the kings, queens, ordinary people, and also about the change of the government. But everything history tells in a chronological order. So what is a chronological order? Chronological order. So what is a chronological order? Chronological order means arrangement of event according to their occurrence. So according to their occurrence. So this is what all about history deals. When we study history, we get this information that history deals with all these aspects. Now why there is a need to study history? That's also very important. Why we should study history? We should study history because there are so many reasons. First we can say that we should study history. Need to study history. What's the need? First, we can say that it helps us when we read history, we come to know that how our ancestors, our forefathers lived. It also helps us to bring a link between the past and the present. So, acts as a link between the past and the present. Now something that is invented in present, maybe that idea must have evolved somewhere in the past. That's why we say that it also acts as a link between the past and the present. Now history also teaches the concept of unity and diversity. The concept unity in diversity. Now what is unity and diversity? Unity and diversity means our cultural heritage is so diverse. We are so diverse but still we are united. We enjoy such a rich cultural heritage. When we study history, we come to know that. Now culture combines everything. Art and craft, architecture, sculpture, then religion, language, literature, way of our dress, different types of dressing, food habits, our amusements, values that we cherish, everything together comes under our culture, and we have such a diverse culture but still we are united. That history teaches us. Okay, so when we study history, we know that our culture is so rich, so we should also appreciate our rich cultural heritage. Now the next is that history is divided into various categories, or there are three basic divisions of history. Basically, history is divided into three categories, that is the ancient, medieval, and modern. Ancient history is that deals with the Guptas, mainly the Guptas in the modern period, and it is till 8th century. Whereas the medieval history is the Mughal reign, and it starts from 9th century to 17th century. This is the modern history that starts from 18th century till date, and it is basically the British rule in India. Now, this is just the basic division you have to know for your grade, because in detail you will be studying in your higher classes. Now, what are the different sources of history? There are basically two major sources of history. Sources of history. Basically, there are two major sources. That is literary sources and the archaeological sources. Now, this literary sources is further divided into two parts, that is religious literature and secular literature. Okay. Now, religious literature, it tells about the inclination of people towards religion, and basically this religious literature talks about the Aryan society and the Hindu religion. There are so many Vedas, epics, Upanishads, Puranas. Like we have two major epics, that is the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Ramayana and the Mahabharata. We have Upanishads, Puranas. Then Aryans deals with the Aryan society, basically the Vedas. There are four Vedas, the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Artha Veda. Then we have Buddhist religious books, Jain's religious books. Now Buddhist religious, they follow the teaching, Buddhist, they follow the teaching of Lord Buddha. Whereas Jains, they follow the teaching of Lord Mahavira. So they have their religious books called the Jatakas and the Tripitakas. Whereas Jains have their religious book called the Angas and the Purvas. Okay, so this all tells about the religion of Hindu and the Aryan society. Okay, now we have the archaeological sources. In archaeological sources also we have three divisions. Sorry, I forgot. Secular literature. Now secular literature deals with what is not religious, is secular, and it basically deals with the poems, plays, dramas. Okay, so on that various books were written, like Kalidasa wrote Meghdut and Abhigyam Sakuntalam. Okay, Arthashastra was written by Kautilya. So there are foreign travelers also came to India, like Fahin and Hinsang. So they all, some of the other books they wrote either in politics or about the economy, about the society, the life of people. Okay, ancient, their ideas, their values. So some of the other books were written. Basically, poems were written, dramas and plays were written. So this we come to know when we read secular literature. Now come to the archaeological sources. Archaeological sources also divided into three groups, three categories, that is the inscriptions, monuments and coins. Now what is inscription? Inscription is basically the writing, because at that time paper was not invented, so the writing was done on either surface of the brick, walls, metals, pillars. Okay, so people, those who study inscription, the study of inscription, that is called epigraphy. the historians, they read this inscription and they bring information about before us. Okay. Then here is the monuments. Monuments also give lots of information about the ancient life, about the people and their rich architecture. Okay, like we have temples like in Tanjore and Mahabalipuram. Then the Ajanta and the Ellora cave, Sachi Stupa. Then we come to the medieval history. We see the Mughal reign. There we have Taj Mahal, Qutub Minar, okay, Red Fort. So these are the fine architectural work in this period, in the ancient or the medieval history. Now coins also talks much about or give information about the ancient time, ancient period. Basically the coin that was used was a precious metal, that was gold, and it was a medium of doing trading also was done with that. Secondly, that it also shows the multi-faced personality of the people at that time, because so many things were engraved. When you see the coin of that period, you will see that so many things were engraved on the surface of the coin, like veena was a musical instrument, veena was you'll find engraved on that. Then god and goddesses picture engraved on the coin. Then war weapons engraved on the coin. So these all information that how prosperous life they enjoyed and how diverse thinking they had. They are such a multifaceted personality, people of that time. In every field they have contributed. Okay, so this thing, with so much rich sources we have available, and so we need to preserve these sources. So for that, the government of India established the National Archive of India in the year 1920 in New Delhi, just for the sole purpose of preserving these sources, the artifacts, okay, the remains of the past, so that it will help the historians, the researchers, the scholars to study, get in detail, bring information more and more before the readers, so we can get information. And because of that only, precious books, periodicals, magazines you'll find in these museums, and so many, not only one museum, there are so many museums that established in different parts of the country. So just to provide information to the readers and also to help the historians, okay, researcher, because every time research work goes on. So this is all I have in this video. So I hope you understood. You have the study material with you. Along with that, you watch the video. I think your doubts will be clear, and please study at home. So thank you for watching.